Once in my life, I was catfished. I had this girl that I'd met on an online dating site, and as I got to the restaurant, I saw that she was not the person at all that was on her profile picture. Now, the issue with making an assumption and not getting proof is that you can get burned, and that's exactly what happened to me. Now, with property, it's important that you get the proofs and you get all the facts and the evidence so that you don't burn your hands, because property is an expensive long-term investment and you can get burned if you make a hasty decision. So the process is really simple. You start with an assumption-based analysis. You use the information that the agent feeds you. You then sign an offer to purchase at an initial offer. And during that OTP, you've got a 2-week due diligence period where you get all the proofs and you vet all the assumptions that you've made. So in this quick education, I'm going to teach you how to not burn your fingers by getting all the proofs before proceeding with the decision.
I educate people to reach financial freedom through property through cash flow positive investments, specializing in the low income multi-let residential market.
Now, proofs are a great way not only to vet the numbers, but to get buy-in from other investors. Here you can see a snapshot of some of the documentation that I've uploaded for my most recent purchase, where I've shown financial statements of the building, the utility bill from the city of Johannesburg, the insurance schedule, the Lightstone report, and the rent roll. All of this stuff is evidence and puts your investors' minds at ease that you're not just making a hasty decision, but rather that you've got all the facts. Now, when I'm looking and seriously considering a deal, I look for 4 types of proof. Proof of income, proof of expense, proof of the condition, proof of financials. So let's unpack each one individually. First of all, proof of income. Now, proof of income is important. If you're buying in the CBD, you want to know not only how much the person is paying, but how regularly are they paying? How regularly are they missing payments? So your proof of income can come in the form of many different options. The most common one that I've seen is a rent roll or a rental statement. So here you can see a property management company called Take Shape, and here are 3 different statements showing a tenant's payment behavior. I can see how much they are paying, but I can also see, you can see the different columns, any adjustments, any receipts, any outstandings. So if I get 6 months worth of these kind of statements, I can see that she's made payment of 5,000, 5,000, 6,000, 2,000, and 9,000. And I can see the fluctuations. So I can see how much she's paying and how regularly she's paying more or less. I mean, that's pretty common in the lower income market. You do sometimes have fluctuations in payment. But if you can see what the last 6 months worth of statements are, what the historical 6 months look like, you can probably project that the next 6 months, 12 months, etc. will have similar payment behavior. So that's a great starting point to get proof of income. You can also do some market research. Go to Property 24 and search for different properties in the Berea area and see what they're going for. Vet that compared to your statements. Look at the lease agreement or bank statements as well. You can use a tool called Pocket Let to get summarized data where they go and look at OLX private property and they scrape all the data and they tell you what your average rent is. Final step, I would say, is to get a TPN report, which tells you the rental price trends as well as your payment index. What's the risk or the likelihood of delinquent behavior? So proof of income is easy. You want to see 3 to 6 months worth of statements so that you can see actual payments. You want to do some market research on Property 24, Pocket Let. You maybe want to get a Lightstone or TPN report, especially when you're new to the area. I know my area of investment really well now, so I don't need to go and get another TPN report because I know from experience from having a building in the same street that this is more or less the price trends. But when you're starting out, maybe phoning a couple of agents, some independent agents, and saying, I'm thinking of buying in this area, what's the average rent? So you want to prove your income, number 1. Number 2, you want to prove your expense. So some of the expenses that you can approve or get some proof of is, first of all, your municipal account. So this is a City of Johannesburg, a COJ municipal bill. It tells you what your rates and taxes are, your water, your electricity, your sewage, that kind of stuff. And then you've also got here on the right, you've got a body corporate statement. So this is a levy statement. If you buy in a building that has got a sectional title, you'll be paying for some of the shared services, the security, the gardening service, the maintenance service, etc. So you want to see a statement that proves what that value is. You also want to get some proof of water and electricity. Now, these are consumption-based expenses. So when consumption is high, your expense base is high. When consumption is low, your expense base is lower. Sometimes you can get this recovered from the tenant. You've got prepaid meters sometimes, prepaid water or prepaid electricity, or maybe at the end of the month you do a reconciliation and then you charge your tenant a recovery fee. But you have to understand what these expenses are. Again, 3 to 6 months worth of statements so that you can get a trend, so that you can project what the next 6 to 12 months is going to look like. The third one is proof of condition. What is the actual condition of the property? Now, when you see the pictures on Property 24 that the estate agents put there, you have to in the beginning assume that that's accurate. But once you've signed an OTP, you put a clause in there that says subject to 2 weeks due diligence, and I'm going to have my inspector come in and look at the property. So here you can see a comprehensive report of what my inspector has given on our latest deal. She has gone into incredible amounts of detail, probably a little bit too much detail, but you can see where there's any piping or plumbing issues. You can see where the damp issues are, how the cupboards are laid out, that the geyser is not compliant, that the toilet and some of the plumbing needs fixing. Now I've got a comprehensive report from someone who is registered with the NHBRC, someone who's qualified to do an inspection, has told me exactly what the condition is. This is fantastic. I know now what my upfront renovation budget will be, and I also know what provision to set aside based on her findings. The final step, when you're buying into a sectional title, you want to understand the financials of the building. This is important because if the financials of the body corporate are not sound, you might not get insurance on your unit, you might not get financing from the bank, and most importantly, if the financials are screwed up, let's say that the lift now breaks and they don't have money in the maintenance kitty because there's corruption, then they're going to charge you a special levy. Then they're going to charge all the landlords an extra 1,500 Rand for 6 months so that they can save up and fix the lift. You need to understand the financials of the sectional title to know if it's a well-run business or not. This is where you want to see some financials of the body corporate. Now, this is sometimes hard to find. Sometimes agents don't want to give this information out because they know the buildings are not well run and they don't want to give anything away. I'm not an accountant, so I don't know how to read a financial statement perfectly. But what I would do is recommend that you go and spend some time with an accountant to go through this. You want to look at, the main financial positions, so the assets and liabilities and equity. That's very important. You also want to look at the revenue generated. How much levies have been received versus this year and last year. Has there been any major increases? Are there any special levies? And then you want to look at the income statement. You want to look at the repairs. You want to look at the maintenance. There's a lot of information in an annual financial statement that will give you confidence that the building is well run versus not well run. And it's important for you to know which is which so that you can make an informed decision. So in summary, it's fine to do your analysis, making some assumptions. Trust the agent. Maybe they're telling the truth. But as soon as you've signed the OTP with your initial offer, give yourself the 2 weeks due diligence period. Make sure that you've got proof of income through lease agreements or statements. Proof of expense. You want to see the municipal account. You want to see the body corporate. Condition of the unit. Either go view it yourself, get a friend or somebody who's got some building experience to go in there, or get someone who's registered with the NHBRC to do a proper inspection. And then finally, make sure that the financials are sound. The great thing about putting that 2 weeks due diligence period into your OTP is that if anything comes out that you weren't expecting, let's say the rent is less than the agent had promised, or the expenses are far greater, or the financials just don't look good, you can exit out of the contract. You're able to legally exit out of the deal and move on to the next one. You don't have to commit because you have that protection.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, please go and check out my books. They're available here or at any exclusive books nationwide.